everyone, and welcome to Hickory on a beautiful 80-degree Easter Saturday. Mike.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the 2021 Rumble at Richmond Raceway, hosted by Maconi Setup Shop and Martin Sports. Live tonight for the virtual Richmond Raceway in Henrico County, Virginia. James Pike here, the voice of Podium Esports, alongside Jacob Hitz and our producer Ryan Bauer. Cameras, as always, provided by Dougie Beard. And Jacob, I feel like everybody's so busy talking about the Southern 500 that we've almost forgotten that it is a Richmond Raceway race weekend coming up, but we haven't forgotten here at Podium Esports because Federated Auto Points 400 race weekend right around the corner in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, and we kick off the week with some virtual racing at Richmond before the real-life drivers get the chance to do it later on this week.
And this weekend is going to be a lot of fun. I know I was at the race back in the spring when the Cup Series last went to Richmond. It was a lot of fun. Tonight is certainly going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of drivers fighting for 40 spots, and then we move on into some heats. It's an interesting kind of road to make the big show here, but it's certainly going to be a lot of fun for us to watch tonight.
Going to be very entertaining. Over 40 drivers have registered for tonight's event, but 40 will end up starting the main event as we'll get a closer look here at Richmond Raceway and zoom in. We're not terribly far away from the capital of the Commonwealth and downtown Richmond, Virginia, but this track set atop Strawberry Hill changed a little bit in 1990. They added that D-shaped oval on the front straightaway. Used to be a more traditional oval, but just enough banking here, Jacob, to make things interesting.
Just enough banking for you to know that there's banking. It's not like New Hampshire where you go off into the corner and it feels like you're just driving on flat. If anything, you may feel like you have negative banking in the corners. Here, there's definitely a noticeable hill, if you want to call it that. Definitely you notice the banking when you go down in the corner. It's not like when we go to Bristol, but it's certainly noticeable here. I think it's just about perfect for these race cars in this racetrack. Not too steep, not too flat, and really it puts on a great show for us.
It should be incredibly entertaining to watch. And of course, we've got the high horsepower, low downforce package as well. So these drivers will in fact have to manage the throttle on corner exit. You can't just mash it. You have to be very, very particular in the way you get around this place. And maybe, just maybe, you'll keep yourself straight. Now, we've got some big names in the field tonight, Jacob. It's headlined by Garrett Maines, who is not only from just outside of Richmond and Powhatan, Virginia, but winner of the Retro 500 last night, and also runner-up to his teammate at Elliott Sadler Esports, Vicente Salas, in the Coast Series race here back in April. So if you're looking at favorites, you probably want to start with the number 2 car.
Certainly got to be the guy to keep an eye on, especially when he's sporting a lookalike to the Denny Hamlin paint scheme that, oh, by the way, he just won in on Sunday night. So things are looking up and up for Garrett Maines right now, and the way things are looking, wouldn't be surprised if he gets a trip to victory lane here tonight.
We would be remiss, though, not to rule out the 2019 Coke Series champion Zach Novak, Brian LaPrade, who won in the Next Gens and Fast Fridays when we came here a few months ago to Richmond and ran those cars here. William Hale is up towards the top of the leaderboard in qualifying early as the track conditions are going to change. Current air temp is 69 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temp is 76 degrees Fahrenheit on this, the default day for iRacing, May 15, 2021, just after 7 p.m. in Sim. Winds headed to the north at 2 miles an hour, humidity at 37%. That will drop off, though. As we progress towards the evening, the track will cool down, it will gain grip, cars will tighten up, and drivers will be able to push a little bit harder. The question is, how do you find the edge as the edge and the place you want to be? I think in terms of aggression, Jacob, changes as we progress through the night.
You're going to be able to drive a little bit harder once the sun goes down and the lights come up. The question is, well, how hard do you want to drive once the sun goes down and the track gets more grip? You throw it in too hard, you're going to find yourself in the outside wall. But if you don't throw it in enough, people are going to be passing you left, right, and center. So it's a balance that these guys, I'm sure, have already worked on. They kind of know what to expect for the most part. But we'll see how these drivers kind of pick and choose their battles with really battling not only themselves, but the racetrack as it progresses.
Working our way through the final 10 seconds of the qualifying, and we are going to have a very, very short last chance qualifier to work with before we get to our 125 lap feature races. We're going to get a chance to head into the heat race here, and we will see which 10 cars will show up here and which 3 will advance. It'll be the top 3 that go into the main. Here are the 10 that have made it into this last chance qualifier. Robert Charette, your pole sitter Craig Lewis alongside him, Blair Patterson, Josh Schultz, and James Burke complete the top 5. Jeremy Briggs will start in 6th, Jacob.
Then we got Liam Knox, Joey Kennelly, Joseph Burgess, and Michael Schwam. Those are the 10 fighting for the last 3 spots in the grid. And of course, we're doing 3 laps. It's going to be a lot of fun.
This could be a little bit wild, to say the least. But for what it's worth, interesting note here. Main's your pole sitter for the main with a 21.216. These drivers in this race, about half a second off that pace. Charette, your pole sitter, would have a 21.8, so 0.6 of a second difference in the lap time. But again, that's the spread. That's the difference between making sure you're running in the main and being stuck in this last chance qualifier, which, yeah, 3 laps, it could be a little bit hectic.
Just a little bit. I hope they keep their composure for the most part, put on a good show. But then again, desperate times call for desperate measures. You want to make the big show, throw it in, jump it in from the top rope, see how many people you take with, we'll see what happens.
Could get a little bit bonkers, to say the least. I think that's the easiest way to talk about it, as we're waiting for the final 15 seconds to roll down, waiting for the rest of the field to grid. Knox, Keneally, and Shawm have yet to put their cars on the racetrack. We'll see whether or not they do or don't, and whether or not what originally was slated as a 10-car micro sprint, if we're going to be honest about it, becomes a 7-car micro sprint. Which I don't know if I've ever seen a sprint race this short, but even then, that might add a few wrinkles to this.
Put the emphasis on the word sprint. It certainly isn't a marathon or anything like that. It's pretty much running from your front door out into the driveway is what we're dealing with here. But hey, it should still be a lot of fun, even though we only have 7 cars here out of the 10 that were supposed to be here. Still, going to be fun, even with 7 cars.
Be curious to see what kind of desperation levels we'll see from anybody from 4th on back. Josh Stoltz will be the one sitting in the back. He's got the Dale Jarrett-inspired scheme from the late 1990s when DJ won his Lone Series title in 1999 with the Quality Care red, white, and blue adorning what was then a Ford Taurus for Robert Yates Racing. He is the first car on the outside looking in as we get the one to go signal from the pace car. And next time by, Jacob will be racing at Richmond in the last chance qualifier.
Well, we haven't seen much out of these guys, but one to watch here in this 3-lap dash. Who makes it, who doesn't?
And who actually uses the brake pedal going into turn one. I'm not necessarily guaranteeing that anybody is really going to hold to decorum. It'll be different in the main. We'll have 125 laps to work with, so some time for drivers to make moves. But as it stands, this could be very, very wild because the race in and of itself is so short. Green flag coming this time. Robert Charette will lead them to green, and we'll find out which final 3 drivers join the 40 who have already qualified for the main. Charette sets on the gas pedal, and we're underway with the Rumble from Richmond Raceway.
At least the heat for the Rumble. This is the warm-up to the Rumble, I guess you could call it. But nonetheless, Charette, he's long gone and battled pretty much second on back. Lewis, Patterson, they're in the show for right now. But here comes the 40, giving a shot to Patterson. Spins him out in turn 3, coming to 2 to go.
Well, I figured we'd see decorum get thrown to the window pretty quickly. And there it is as Blair Patterson gets sent around and then some in 3 and 4. And now here comes James Burke, who overdrove the corner, going to open up the opportunity for Stoltz to come to his inside and maybe get a spot. It's Jeremy Briggs on the outside looking in. Nope. He is going to give the shot in 3 and 4.
The punter becomes the puntee. He was the one that got in the back of Patterson. He gets sent by Briggs into the wall. Last lap in the heat. Briggs is in. Stoltz is in. Charette is in for the time being. The battle is going to third and final spot. Oh, Lewis isn't going to use the brake pedal. Robbie Gordon style. Oh, well, I thought he was just going to send it in there. Going to try and diamond the corner. He can't get there.
Nope. Won't get there. Charette was well clear. Josh Stoltz ran a clean race, and Jeremy Briggs, the last one into the main. So, yeah, there's a micro sprint for you. How about that? Charette, Stoltz, and Briggs will start 41st, 42nd, and 43rd in the 125-lap feature that is coming your way in just a few moments. We're going to take a quick break here as these drivers get the chance to run some hot laps and get some heat in the tires before we go green flag racing with a Rumble at Richmond Raceway. Stay tuned. You're watching coverage from the virtual Richmond Raceway here on Podium Esports. When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Maconi Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Maconi Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Maconi Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MaconiSetupShop.com and learn why Maconi Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to Podium Esports coverage of the Rumble at Richmond Raceway, presented by Maconi Setup Shop and Martin Sports. James Pike here alongside Jacob Hitson, our producer Ryan Bauer, as we have a few moments before we get to tonight's 125-lap feature race. And we now bring in one of the folks behind this event. Jeff Maconi himself now joins us in the booth. And Jeff, you've been very excited, very high on this partnership with Richmond, but even tonight for you, it's going to be a little bit different because you can kind of see and you can't see, right?
Yeah, I am. I don't know if the camera's even on me. I can't tell. So I'm just going to always assume that it is, but I'm running in VR. I can't see anything outside of it. My attention is fully focused on the racing around me, which has its ups and downs. So it's very easy to just get tunnel vision and focus on one thing only when you're racing in VR, but it's got its pros and its cons, and I'm hoping that we can have a good run tonight. The qualifying was decent. I think I ran like a 39, and I'm starting like 17th, so just gotta survive. You know, I'm a short track racer. I cut my teeth on the modifieds here. I think I have the record for most wins in the SKs and tour mods at this track, if I recall correctly. I know I had it at one point, so I love this track, and I'm hoping for a good run tonight for UNOH, Maconi Setup Shop, Richmond Raceway Esports, all the people that make this possible.
We can also sort of see what you're seeing in your headset off to that monitor to the left. It's a little bit chopped off, but it's enough to give folks a sense of what Jeff's going to be looking at and how that headset moves across the plane of vision and the field of vision he's got throughout the race. And it's a different experience. So for those who haven't had the chance to run in VR, can you describe what it's like and how it compares to running with a one or maybe a 3-monitor setup?
Well, it's definitely difficult to get used to. Once you first jump in, you can feel nauseous. Sometimes if you're not ready for it, you can feel disoriented. It's especially rough if the frames start dropping on you, because then you're like, your vision is stuttering and it gets really tough there. But I love it because it helps me focus. Everything is rendered around me in 3D. And I can see everything. I know where the other cars are. I can look to this, you know, I can turn my head and look and see, okay, there's a guy on my right, or I can look up at my mirror and do all the different things that I need to do. It makes wrecking a whole lot scarier, because you just sort of, you know, there will be times where I will let go of my wheel and cross my arms like this. You can see the seatbelts here. You know, they're not just for fun. It helps also keep your brain grounded, so you know you're attached to a seat, you know where you are. So seatbelts, they're fun, they look cool, I think, but it also does help me, at least, not feel nauseous when I'm racing.
The placebo effect in action, as we'll see Jeff Maconi take his ride around Richmond in just a few moments. It's time to head to the starting grid and tell you where your favorite driver begins tonight. Garrett Maines, we said, your pole sitter with a 21.216 starting to the inside of Zach Novak. William Hale, Brian LaPrade, Jonathan Delaney completing the top 5. Landon Mills starting 6. Jacob.
Tyler Clark starts from the 7th starting spot with Jordan Kuntz starting in P8. AJ Green and Lance Hill round out the top 10. And it's Andrew Rucker and Zachary Mertz in 11th and 12th.
Manuel Valdez starts on the inside of row 7 and 13. Colin Forster to his outside. Presley Sora, Gary Sexton, Jeff Maconi, Andrew Player complete the top 18.
Derek Fulton, Travis Skrmeda, then Chad Thornquist, Brandon Paunetto, Joey Mazowitz, Curtis Kelly round out through row 12.
Paunetto, who had that magical run to make it into the Podium 500 earlier this year, back for more. Thomas Lloyd, Andrew Lutz Jr. in 25th and 26th. Andrew Cody in 27th. Colton Zimmer 28th. Braxton DeWeese, Hayes Booth complete the top 30.
Brian Dixon, Justin Malarkey, 31st, 32nd. Cameron Perez, Michael Eckhart, Casey Salwich, and Julian Ricky round out through row 18.
Stoney Benfield alongside Gavin Newton, Sean Thomas Lester, and Eric Thomas completing the top 40. And then your 3 transfers from the LCQ: Robert Charette, Josh Stoltz, and Jeremy Briggs starting 41st, 42nd, and 43rd. Tonight, we have 125 laps that we are racing for, just over 90 miles, just over 150 kilometers, 1 faster pair available to these drivers, and 3 green-white checker attempts if we need them. Whether or not we do, we'll find out But this is Richmond. I would figure we're probably going to see a little bumping, a little banging, a little bit of bench sheet metal at the end of this. The question is whether or not someone can unseat the two Toyotas that will start in the front row. You've got two very fast drivers from the Coke Series in Garrett Maines and Zach Novak coming your way. We're glad you're with us here on Podium Esports, wherever you're watching, whether or not it's on the Podium 2 Twitch channel or Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, as we get set for 125 laps from Richmond Raceway. It is the Richmond Raceway Rumble presented by Maconi Setup Shop and Martin Sports, and it is underway. Garrett Maines picking up tonight right where he left off one evening ago on points ahead of Novak. William Hale got to third to the inside of Brian LaPrade, who got just a little bit loose as we go on board with Hale's machine. The black and yellow Hale Mechanical Maconi Setup Shop Ford Mustang right there tucked underneath Zach Novak, and then LaPrade and Jonathan Delaney trying to make something happen on the high side.
One point there was smoke. Heading into turn number one, some trouble in the back as well. The 96 got turned around. Josh Stoltz is down on the flat. The front clip on that thing is gone. Eric Thomas, as I mentioned, the 96 is damaged. He's on pit road. The leaders keep running down through the front straightaway, and the top five, almost the top 10, single file.
Very quickly, they had sorted themselves out. Maybe not quite as fast as they did at Darlington last night, but for the most part, it is single file outside of this battle between Landon Mills and Brian LaPrade. You could also chuck Jonathan Delaney right there in the mix too, but it's Mills to the outside, LaPrade to the inside. This is the battle for fourth position on the racetrack.
Yeah, battle for fourth between LaPrade and Mills. These guys, LaPrade has been hungry since they dropped the green flag, but I tell you what, Novak and Hale are getting side by side right in front of them. At least they were for the moment. LaPrade trying to keep that inside line rolling.
Finally makes it happen. Oh, contact there. William Hale got the fence. I don't know whether or not he bounced off of Brian LaPrade, but he's going to get sent up the racetrack by, I believe, Landon Mills. As Delaney's going to come underneath. Mills is going to bounce off another car there, and Jordan Kuntz nearly lost it in the middle of the front stretch.
Yeah, he made contact, I think, with the, that's the 20 of Mills there, coming three wide, thought he was clear, and just made a little bit of contact, cost him some time. Here comes the clerk underneath of him, so he thought it was crazy in the back of the pack. I mean, up here, it's a hornet's nest.
This is back into the top 10 as we ride on board with Landon Mills, who is just ahead of a pretty big mess. You've got Kuntz, you've got Leclerc, you've got Green, you've got Hill. Here's a look at Jeff Maconi trying to poke his way through the field. He's picked up one spot since the start of this race, but a company all around him. Derek Fulton, who was in the show of the Retro 500 tonight ago, as one car bounces off of him, and Gary Sexton gets sent down to the apron and then pounds the inside retaining wall and sticks it right in the middle of the racetrack. And we have our first yellow flag of the evening, but there was nothing Sexton could have done about that. It was a chain reaction that sent him into the fence, and he will probably be using a fast repair in relatively short order, Jacob.
Yeah, let's take a look and see what happened. Unfortunately, everything on my end kind of blinked out as things started to bottle up. So here coming off four, just a little bit of contact there. The car on the outside tried to keep it off the wall, turned left as hard as he could, and just nowhere for Gary.
There's Chad Thornquist.
Oh, and he was trying down on the apron, just couldn't hang on to the race car and keep it out of that inside wall.
Chad Thornquist, the one that got into Gary Sexton, he bounces off the fence into Sexton, sends Sexton down to the apron. And Gary, I think, was caught in two minds there, trying to figure out whether or not he wanted to try and lay off the gas or brake outright. Didn't want to lose the track position, but he gets caught in the middle, catches the fence, ends up in the wall, probably going to use the fast repair in short order. But for everybody else, Jacob, look at this group of cars coming down pit road.
It's almost everybody. I mean, basically, it's okay. Garrett Main stayed out, Landon Mills stayed out, Kuntz stayed out, Clerk stayed out, Delaney stayed out. Everybody else is coming on the pit road. So clearly, they see an advantage with fresh tires early and perhaps often here tonight.
We ran 11 laps before we got our first yellow of the evening, and Zach Novak is going to win the battle off of pit road ahead of Brian Pratt, William Hale, Casey Sowich, AJ Green, Lance Hill. The first few cars off the racetrack already and well sorted, but your top 5 stay out. So if you're in that top 5, Jacob, what's your thinking? And if you're a driver, why would you want to stay out in a case like this?
Well, if you don't think tires are that big of an issue at this point, you've only run 10 laps under green. If you think you've saved your tires enough where you'll be on par with those that just pitted, that's where I can see you staying out. It's 125 laps, which is a long time, but isn't a long time on a short track. This is going to roll by pretty quick, especially if we don't have a lot of cautions. Now, if they keep crashing here and we have cautions breed cautions, then the people that stayed out are pretty much going to look like geniuses because they'll stay up at the front while everybody behind them wrecks trying to get by them.
Let's see if we can get a word from Gary Sexton as to what happened. Gary, what did you feel from your perspective?
Just guys out here trying to win it from 19th place or whatever position we're in. Nobody wants to give, and take. Nobody wants to let anybody in line. Everybody just wants to race as hard as they can. And I got hit in the right rear and spun out. That's about it. But,
how bad's the damage? And are you going to hang on to the fast repair for a little while, I would imagine?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to hang on to the fast repair. I'm down RPMs, but it probably won't hurt too much here at Richmond. I'm going to hold on to that fast repair till the second half of the race for sure. So we'll be okay.
Thanks for the time, Gary. We'll see you on the racetrack here in just a few moments as the lights went back on the pace car. But, you can hear the frustration in his voice, and I think a somewhat valid point there that you're not going to win this race from 20th within the first 10 laps.
Right, but something to mention, he did not use his fast repair, so he's keeping that in his back pocket just in case. We've had a number of guys already use their fast repair. The 62, 14, the 34, the 92, the 64, the 96 have all used them here in the first 15 laps. So they're going to be driving without insurance, basically. You hit something, you get caught up in some mess, your night, competitive night at least, is basically over.
Lights off on the pace car. Restart to come on lap 15 of 125. And a reminder that your top 5 stayed out. Everybody else came down and took 4 tires. How this pans out, we'll find out. As Garrett Maines and Jonathan Delaney will be responsible for bringing us back to green flag racing. A little bit of wheel spin there further back, though, from Landon Mills.
Yeah, not the best restart there on the inside line. I was worried they were going to really check up and crash before they even got to the line, but they at least made it through the front straight away on that restart. When you get bottlenecked up like that, it can really impact everybody behind you because you're on the gas digging as hard as you can. Trouble, turn 4.
Andrew
One car
Player,
around.
I believe. Yep, that's Andrew Player. No, yes, did get a yellow flag there. I wasn't totally certain, but I recognized that bright yellow and black of Maconi setup shop colors pretty much anywhere on this racetrack, and contact from the inside. Looks like he got some help from the white and blue Chevy Camaro of Thomas Lloyd. That's what started this.
And Andrew Player, I mean, he just turned dead left across his nose, trying to dive him in the corner. Thought he was clear. He wasn't. And he paid the ultimate price and got sideways and then got hit as he was stopped. Robert Charette, who came in through the heat, came in and pretty much hit him head on. A lot of damage to the front end of the 64 car as well.
A little bit of damage for Andrew Player. We're back under the yellow flag once again. I wonder whether or not we'll see anybody else come down pit road this time, but given that we barely got any laps in before we went back under the yellow flag, I suspect that you're going to see everybody stay out. Here's a look from Jeff Maconi's on board, and we'll see just how close he got to being swept up in this. You see Brandon Paunetto to the outside too. Nice job by Paunetto to go high, and Maconi just snuck underneath Andrew Player. That was clearance of maybe 6 inches, Jacob?
I'm not sure, but I heard Maconi come over the radio and say, I hope they caught that on camera. I don't know if we did, but let's talk to the driver of the 03, see if his pants are still clean.
My goodness. I think we did catch all that on camera. So, Jeff, how you doing after that one?
Boy, I really hope Martin Sports makes a pair of Maconi Setup Shop underwear and sends me a pair because I need them. Oh my goodness, that was right in front of me. We were talking earlier about VR. I think that just about saved me there because I saw the back end of the car and went, that doesn't look quite right. I shouldn't be looking at that. I shouldn't be looking at the left rear quarter panel. And then I was able to slam on the brakes, skirt my way around, and somehow make it work. But man, that was close. That was scary, but I had to make some adjustments to my graphics settings because I'm streaming 1080p video and racing in VR, so I lost a bunch of spots on the pit stop because I had to fix that.
So you're going to have to climb your way back through the field. Have you learned anything about what you could expect with the way this car handles in these opening 20 laps or so, or has it been too much yellow flag racing for you to really get a feel for much?
I can see the outside starting to come in, and I think if the inside line keeps checking up as much as it does, because everyone's wanting to get single file, that inside line keeps checking up, someone on the outside could steal the spot or two. So definitely something to keep an eye on. I think as the sun goes down, the track cools, we'll start to see people migrating up to the outside, but for now, man, you gotta just keep this car safe. You gotta take good care of it. It rotates really well, so it hits the center and pivots and gets off really well, but it can get loose on exit if you're not careful. So you got to be patient. That's the thing. Is I'm not looking to make crazy passes. If I'm faster than someone, great. If I'm not, I'm fine riding around. I got another 105 laps to work my way to the front here and hopefully win this thing.
Well, Jeff, we'll let you get back to it and get yourself sorted. Thanks as always for the time, and hopefully we'll have a few more stories for you. And actually, before we go, where'd you get your gloves from?
I got these gloves. So these are the Beta gloves with CGE branding on them. We work a lot with CGE, their short track team, primarily here on iRacing. A lot of really anything asphalt oval. Fantastic people. Love working with them. And so they made a test beta pair of gloves with Martin Sports. We're going to have Maconi Setup Shop ones coming out soon. I've got my own pair coming soon. I expect it in the next few weeks here, but these gloves, they are awesome. I wear them all the time when I'm racing. I've got a second pair up on my counter for when I do road racing that are cut off right at the wrist. So you got whatever you need.
All right, well, Jeff will let you get back to it as lights are off on the pace car restart to come on lap 22 of 125. So we knock off a few laps here. As for the drivers who did not pit, Landon Mills slipped back to 5th and Tyler Clare slipped back to 8th. Zach Novak was able to gain a few spots. He's now 4th and the highest running of the drivers that pitted on that first yellow. What kind of launch will Garrett Maines get as we go back to green? Pretty good one. Clear of Jordan Kuntz by a solid 2-3 car lengths and clear the rest of the field as they head back to 1.
Yeah, Maines has really gotten the launches figured out. Everybody else still trying to figure it out. A little bobbly further on back, but they're going to make it. At least the leaders will off too.
So leaders are clear. Maines is good. Delaney is all by himself. Novak trying to give chase and maybe separate himself to go to 3rd and then look underneath Delaney to go to 2nd. There goes the Maconi setup shot number 90 for Lockdown Racing at Richmond Raceway Esports as Novak tries to keep the home game rolling on the inside to clear Delaney and go to P2 outright.
And remember, Novak is on those fresher tires, blows by Delaney. William Hale now on the inside as Novak kind of kicked the door down. He's going to start rolling. He's on the fresher tires as well, so the fresh tires paying off, even though there's not much difference between the two different tire strategies right now. Zach Novak, he's a-coming for that race lead.
Look at the second driver who's come in on fresh tires and is starting to move towards the front. William Hale now there, as I don't know if Novak intentionally overshot the corner, if he's trying to play with different lanes. He may be exploring. I won't rule that out, but Delaney was at least able to get to his inside. But yes, it looks like Novak might be taking heed to what Jeff Maconi just said under that last yellow flag. He might be the first driver trying to move up the racetrack, which in fairness tracks with what we saw in the Coke Series race in April. These drivers started on the bottom. Granted, we were racing in full sunlight, so the conditions were a little bit different, but as the race progressed, we saw drivers go up the racetrack, and that's exactly what looks like it's happening right now.
Tell you what, the 99 of Jordan Kuntz made a heck of a move. 3 wide on the outside, a lap ago getting into 3. Got by the 25 of Landon Mills. Got by Presley Sora, who was down low trying to make the pass work. That 99 looking good on the outside line.
You're going to traffic down in turns 1 and 2, but no yellow flag from race control yet as Garrett Means is clear of Zach Novak by maybe call it 2 or 3 car lengths tops, and about the same gap from Novak back to Jonathan Delaney, who sits 3rd. Your first side-by-side battle, you have to go back to P7, where Presley Soares to the inside of Landon Mills, and they thought about bouncing off of one another down the front straightaway, and then thought better of it going into 1.
And Sora is just going to try and take 2 for the price of 1 here and get by the 99 of Kuntz here off 2. Pulls to that inside, got a great launch. He's going to take 1 and go side by side, toe-to-toe with Kuntz through 3 and 4.
Mills thought about trying to run the high line, and I think he's starting to see that A, Sora has some speed, and B, he probably isn't a bad person to follow. Just let Sora make the holes for you through the rest of this traffic, and you can just ride his coattails to the front, and then maybe start fighting him later on when you've got more room to battle individually.
Let him be the lead blocker, and you just follow him as far as you can go. Instead of you picking the battles, just let him do all the work and swoop in there. And sure, I'll take that spot too. Thank you very much.
Could look off the front hood of Brian LaPrade, trying to find his way to the inside of William Hale, who in turn tried to find the inside of Jonathan Delaney. I thought there was going to be contact for a moment, but instead they keep it off each other. But Hale cedes the spot to Brian LaPrade, at least for the moment, and then goes right back to the inside in turn 1 and misses the corner and nearly slid up and collected Brian LaPrade, but LaPrade now in sole possession of 4th.
Oh, Joe, contact off 2. Trouble, back straight away. That's the 0-2. Zach Mertis is around. He saved it. No caution. They were 3 wide coming off of 2. He got bounced down to the inside and just tried, but couldn't hang on to that thing. But no caution. We're good.
So tough on the racetrack, especially coming out of 2. If you're in that sort of position, you're down at the bottom of a 3-wide setup. Unless you have the best spotter on planet Earth, more often than not, you're not going to know you're 3 wide, and I think that's exactly what happened to Mertz. Had no clue that there were 2 cars above him, much less the 1. He bounces off, slides down, and he is now scored in the 35th position. So work to do for Zach Mertz to climb back up as we see Brian LaPrade looking to the inside of Jonathan Delaney to take over 3rd. William Hale will slide in there and get right to Jonathan Delaney and move him up the racetrack, and yellow flag out as Hale makes contact with Delaney, who will slide back somewhere towards the back end of the top 10. I don't know where timing and scoring is going to officially clock him, but that was hard racing personified right there, and Hale just sent it in deep and sent it in too much.
What a save, though, by Jonathan Delaney. That thing was dead sideways, people driving underneath him, almost hitting him, and he hangs on to that thing. If it wasn't for the traffic right behind him, we would have needed a caution for that. A great job of car control by Jonathan Delaney. But you're right, William Hale just sent it in a bit too hard. Just need a little more room from Delaney, but I don't blame Delaney for not giving an inch.
Big movement there from Jonathan Delaney as he ends up sideways, and I think is scored officially in 8th as, look at this, just about everybody in this field coming down pit road, Jacob.
If you had a race car, you're coming on at pit road unless your name is Cameron Perez. He's the lone guy that has decided to stay out. And he did pit under that first caution. So his tires are about 10 laps fresher than the beginning of the race. Everybody else is coming to the pit box. They want tires, and they want them now.
They want tires. They want them now. Everybody on four. So I think that's an interesting thing. You'd figure somebody, especially as short as these runs have been, might think about taking 2 tires. But I think, 1 car in the whole of the field that took 2, and it's Gary Sexton back in 27.
And that's a bold strategy, Cotton, for 27th, especially for somebody that already sees their fast repair. You take too many shots like that, and it could be a real early night for you back there.
As we run under the yellow flag, we remind you that tonight's broadcast of the Rumble at Richmond Raceway is brought to you by Martin Sports. Founded by Scott Martin nearly 10 years ago in the frozen tundra of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, Martin Sports giants the best custom apparel for your needs. Whether you need shirts for your office, jerseys for a local sports team, or specially designed apparel for your sim racing group, Martin Sports has you covered. Along with shirts and other team wear, they also offer gloves specifically crafted for sim racing that are lightweight, breathable, and complete with padded leather paws. If you want to find out more, visit their website at martinsports906.com or their Facebook page at facebook.com/martinsports. Working lap 37 of 125 in this Rumble at Richmond Raceway, presented by Maconi Setup Shop and Martin Sports. James Plank, Jacob Hitz, Ryan Bauer here to bring you all the action from Richmond Raceway, or rather iRacing's virtual Richmond Raceway, as we kick off Richmond's fall race weekend. So many great events that you're going to see at Richmond Raceway. The capstone, of course, Saturday night's Federated Auto Parts 400 race number 2 and the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. But that's not to say that it's going to be a quiet weekend, because there's also the Go Bowling 250 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series coming up on Saturday afternoon. And I heard that some junior fella might be making his Xfinity start of the year at Richmond this weekend. Perhaps, Jacob, just passing little bird, he told me.
I did happen to see that on the entry list, that there were 41 cars and somebody gets bumped because the old man Dale Jr. is putting the helmet back on and getting behind the wheel of a race car. And, he's done this the last couple of years in the Xfinity Series. We'll see how he does. He still hasn't been able to find victory lane yet, but Richmond would be one heck of a place for him to do it.
As lights are off for the pace car, also can't forget that Friday night we've got the Virginia's for Racing Lovers 150, the return of the NASCAR Wheeler Modified Tour to Richmond Raceway. They made a pretty good show of things in the 90s and the 2000s. And if you want tickets, you can log on to richmondraceway.com or visit their website at 866-455-RACE. As we'll go back to green flag racing at the virtual Richmond, it's Cameron Perez who stayed out and spins the tires immediately, and Garrett Maines will already have a crack at the lead by the time they go to 1. How far will Perez drop back in this?
I'm worried about anybody going to the outside of Perez, because I'm not sure he can hold the bottom of the racetrack in the corners at full speed. I think Briar LaPrade got scared for his life, and anybody here in the middle line or higher is going to be scared here through 3 and 4. They make it, but man, that thing does not look good. Trouble, turn 4, front straightaway. Round goes the 92 in the grass, hanging on to it. I think he's going to be able to save it.
Comes back out onto the racetrack. They continue to bounce off each other in the middle of the corner as everybody checks up and goes high to get around Cameron Perez, who's already back in 21st, some 2 laps after we took the green flag. Back towards the front, there's still door-to-door. Zach Novak gets loose off the corner, so he'll be wheel-to-wheel with Landon Mills, who will try and take that 3rd spot from the outside.
And then right behind them, 5th and 6th, it's Jordan Kuntz, Presley Sora, rather 6th and 7th. That battle right behind him. Then you got William Hale just kind of bridging the gap between these two. A lot of great battling at the front. It's the same suspects that we've seen, really, since the drop of the green flag up here at the front, fighting this out.
Maines, LaPrade, Mills now in 3rd. Here comes William Hale to the outside of Zach Novak to try and get the 4th spot away. And Presley Sora, who steadily just climbed his way up after starting in the 15th position. He's one of the hardest chargers in the field so far. He's up 9 spots from where he started. Here's an onboard of Sora's Chevrolet Camaro as he works to the inside of, I believe, that is Jordan Kuntz. Yes, it is.
And Novak just doesn't seem to be doing as well on these on this set of fresh tires. He's kind of fallen back since the drop of the green flag on this restart. Sora goes up the racetrack a little bit, kind of congesting everything. And that 99 gets a good run off the outside in 3 and 4.
Good work there for Kuntz. Sora to the inside to continue to work for position. Just behind Sora, you've got Jonathan Delaney, who got moved out of the way by William Hale and has been making a recovery run back to the top 5. He's already back up to 8th. He's got Derek Fulton, AJ Green right behind him as Sora and Kuntz continue to bounce off of each other. And it's Ford versus Chevy down the front stretch to try and figure out who won 6th.
Do you think revenge is on the mind of the driver of the number 9 right now?
I think catching William Hale is one thing, and then any sort of revenge or passing is another. It's a crawl before you walk type thing at this point. But yes, I do think that that's filed away in the back of Jonathan Delaney's mind, especially if we get towards the end of this race and it can make a difference for position and, you know, it's the last lap. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few feathers ruffled, because we know that William Hale will not be afraid to ruffle the feathers of the drivers around him. One of the more aggressive short track racers, both in real life and in iRacing. The driver out of Mount Juliet, Tennessee, who regularly runs at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Pretty solid skill set, whether or not it's real life racing or virtual racing, and especially on these short tracks, he can take a car with high horsepower, low down force and get some speed out of it. Currently running in the 4th position, but holding off a solid challenge from Zach Novak.
Yeah, Novak, it looks like he's gotten the wheels back underneath that race car. It didn't look good the last 5 or so laps of this run, but he's starting to put some good laps together, closing in on William Hale, and Kuntz and Sora still side by side for position number 6 right behind him.
Kuntz, Sora still have not sorted this out as Novak gets a good peek to the inside. Hale got a little bit loose off of turn 4. You look a little bit further back in the field and see some of these cars racing for P30. Looks like you've got Julian Ricci, Colton Zimmer, Eric Thomas, Cameron Perez on the old rubber back to 33rd, as we can confirm that Zach Novak has made the pass around William Hale to go get 4th. Here's a look at Gary Sexton, who rides in 19th with that damage. He said he's a little bit down on RPMs, but is going to try and save his fast repair for later. Now he works to the inside, trying to take away 18th from Hayes Booth.
Presley Sora almost ate concrete going down the back straightaway. The 9 of Jonathan Delaney went and made a move. Sora tried to throw a block as he was trying to make a move on the 99 of Kuntz, and there was a little bit of contact, and Sora did a heck of a job saving that thing because he was very close to going into the inside wall a la Patrick Carpentier and just blocking the rest of the track.
There's a shot of your 2 leaders there, and how Garrett Maines and Brian Pratt have driven away from Landon Mills. It is a 1.3 second gap from Mills just to LaPrade, and he's 1.6 seconds back of Garrett Maines for the race lead. So these two, now that we've had some green flag racing, are all on their own, and you have to go back to Kuntz, Sora, and company to find some side-by-side action. There's Delaney working to the inside of Derek Fulton just a bit further back, but these two pretty well sorted out. If we see some action between LaPrade and Maines, we'll obviously come back to the lead and bring it to you, but for now, we'll head back to where the battles are, and where the battles are, how about P9, P8? It's Jonathan Delaney and Derek Fulton racing on the outside.
And here comes Sora again, right back on the 99 of Kuntz. They just keep battling and battling and battling up here. This back half of the top 10 has just been all over each other. Here comes AJ Green here as well, looking for 9th.
Good work there for Delaney, who will make the moves, then just sort of sit in line as Sora and Kuntz again. How many times are we going to see this between these two, where they're going to be side by side and nobody's going to try and clean them up and go single file and try and complete this pass? No, I wonder if what Jeff Maconi said is right, and that outside line should be getting quicker and quicker with each passing lap. Could mean that Kuntz is in the catbird seat so far as track position, or maybe literal line on the racetrack is concerned, and Sora may be the one suffering.
It's possible. You see Derek Fulton, he jumped up to that outside line. Things starting to get put together for him, but now it's almost like a train up on the outside line where somebody makes a mistake, breaks a little early, run into the back of him. You see the same thing on the inside line at most short tracks. So it could get dicey there on that outside line, but Sora and Kuntz have been like cats and Velcros. There's contact and a spinner behind him.
One car down in the fence is Lance Hill, who bounced off of contact between Jonathan Delaney and AJ Green, who got into one of the coming out of turn 2. We'll see the replay here and see what exactly happened.
Yeah, he just tries to stick it in 3 wide. The 48 pushes the 9 up the racetrack a little bit, and the 48 doesn't know he's there. He can't give too much room, and he's the one that pays the ultimate price there, Lance Hill in the 6.
So big damage there. It's Lance Hill, who's back in 25th now, as the 2 leaders continue to pace this group. How about this battle for 3rd, though? Zach Novak now looking to the inside of Landon Mills down the backstretch.
Yeah, the top two are absolutely gone, and there's a half a second between them. Then you got to go 2 more seconds to get to these guys. So the top two on a league of their own, a little bit of contact off 4 between Mills and Novak.
There definitely was some damage there to the right front of Novak's machine just off the contact that was made. So not a huge surprise that we get a little bit of bent sheet metal. We talked about it. We figured it would come at some point, but Mills will maintain the spot. The Nebula Esports driver still in P3, Novak back to 4th, Hale in 5th, and then Sora has managed to get ahead of Fulton and Delaney and Kuntz and take control of the second group that starts from about 6th on back, as Delaney, I think, got the fence. I couldn't tell whether or not he hit it under braking, but slight contact for Delaney with the outside wall. He'll gather it back up and try and get to the inside of Derek Fulton for 7th.
Tell you what, Kuntz not only got passed by Sora, Fulton and Delaney also got by him. So Kuntz maybe with a more of a short run car as time's going on. Yeah, he's just in the outside line, but he's lost a couple more spots since the 98 Oppressive Sora was able to get by him.
Sora down to the bottom. You've got Fulton riding just behind him. Everybody in a train for the moment. Fulton now looking to the inside of Sora. She's going on board with Gary Sexton, who's got a good view of some action a little bit further back, but we'll keep our eyes peeled on 7th and 8th and maybe 6th as well as Sora gets drawn back into this. It's Fulton to the inside of Sora once again, but Sora slams the door in his face and maintains 6th for the moment.
We had some contact between Mills and Novak battling for that 4th spot. Actually, it was 3rd. William Hale got by him, I think, because of the contact. Whoa! That was huge!
There's a little bit more than just contact there, and it explains why William Hale is now 3rd and why Novak and Mills are 4th and 5th. You won't even notice anything here. Mills just sort of in his own groove, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's the contact from Novak on entry into 1. He slides up the racetrack. Novak does 2, and Hale slips underneath them both to go get P3.
Trouble back straight away. The 72's in the wall. Manuel Valdez back straight away. No caution. Nosed it into the inside wall, but gets it going as now the leader goes by, headed into 3. So we keep on rolling.
Maines, LaPrade, Hale, Novak, Mills, Sora still just out ahead of Fulton. Good look off the nose of Fulton's Toyota Camry. He'll try and do something here with Sora into 1.
And key word is try right now as Fulton trying to use that bottom. Now Sora, with the amount of time that he was on the bottom, he's going to jump up to the high side, see if he can get anything out. But Fulton going to try and do everything he can down on that yellow line to get the spot away. Might open up the door for Jonathan Delaney as well.
Big work here potentially for Delaney, who has just hung off the edge of this and watched Fulton and Sora go tooth and nail with each other. Can he follow the hole that Fulton appears to be creating and potentially get the spot? Fulton to the inside, Sora now working high. Delaney will go to the bottom. Fulton might have the opportunity to clear and does. Move Derek Fulton up to 6th, Sora back to 7th, and Delaney might send Sora back to 8th if he can maintain his track position on the inside.
Certainly going to try it there on the bottom. That 9 got a good launch. 98 got a pretty good launch as well here. Got a great heads down the back straightaway, but Delaney just going to keep it glued to that bottom. Do everything he can, but that 98 on the outside, yeah, looking all right.
Delaney continuing to work door to door with Presley Sora. Can he finish off this pass? Well, that'll make it easy. As you saw the bobble from Sora's Chevy Camaro, he goes wide, and Delaney to the inside should have the opportunity to slide up in front and take the spot away outright. So Jonathan Delaney to 7th, Sora back to 8th, and guess who's right behind Sora now on the timing charts officially? The same driver he was racing wheel to wheel with for a solid 10-15 laps just a bit earlier. It's Jordan Kuntz.
We got people all over the place. I was hearing over the radio, trouble turn 2, now backstretch, now 3, now 4. Now I think they were wrecking the whole way around the racetrack, but we're good for the time being. I think, I hope. Let's get wacky in the back of the field.
Sora to the bottom now. How about this? They're trying to go 3 wide just behind him. Kuntz, Leclerc, and some fellow named Jeff Maconi has just been biding his time, and all of a sudden he finds himself on the edge of the top 10 as he's let some of these drivers in front of him battle and then battle and then battle a little bit more. Also of note, Cameron Perez is on the outside here. Remember, he stayed out and finally just decided to come down pit road some 13, 14, 15 laps to go. So the call to stay out and try and take the track position, not the right one for Perez. But here's a good look at Jeff Maconi. We'll see what he sees from at least both his room and his VR headset, and whether or not Maconi decides to make a move to the outside, we'll find out in just a moment. He does indeed, as Coots slips up a little bit on corner exit, and here's Maconi to the outside of Coots' Ford Mustang to try and get P10.
Gary Sexton, I think, is going to leave virtual Richmond Raceway in a body bag if he's not careful. They were 4 wide in the middle of 3 and 4. They're 2 wide, 5 rows deep like we're at Talladega. These guys are all over the place. This is back 20th, around 20th. Sexton's 21st, battling for 20th with the Tua Hayes booth. A massive hornet's nest back here. We talk about the battles up at the front. Well, in the back, trouble. Front straightaway, I think.
Caution flag is out. Michael Eckert is the one teammate to Zach Mertz, who is in trouble. Brings out what I believe is caution number 4, I think.
3 or 4.
3 or 4, just off the top of my head. And it's a close one for Garrett Maines, too. And Brian LaPrade, they just snuck around on the inside. And you're going to see some of the other cars in this field. And can we get this?
Oh!
Eckert just loops it. And nothing that Stoney Benfield could have done. Nothing that I think Julian Ricci could have done. Contact for both of them. But we almost had Maines and LaPrade swept up in that.
Briar LaPrade is lucky. He was a second later, and he was in that. Eckert spun, and then once he was stopped, he gassed it. The only problem was there was a car coming on the outside, so he gassed up right in front of him and just got T-boned. That pushed him back down the racetrack, then into another. That's Julian Ricky. So a 2 for there just because he didn't look to see if there was traffic coming. He just floored it.
Working on 50 laps to go. Here come your race leaders down for service, and you would assume, Jacob, that everybody else, given how long that run was, will follow suit.
I would hope so. I mean, we saw how it didn't work for the 26 on that last restart, the 26 of Cameron Perez, where he started first and just sank like an anchor. You know, he was, I think, 28th after 2 laps or something like that. They are, you need to pit.
Maines wins the battle off of pit road over Brian LaPrade. Novak, you figure, probably going to be in third. He saved his faster pair. Also worth noting that LaPrade, I think, just used his faster pair, and William Hale had already used his faster pair. So if they end up in any form of trouble, it will be big trouble, because they will not be able to repair the damage with a literal snap of the fingers and check of the box. Something to keep in the back of your minds as we enter the closing stages of this Rumble at Richmond Raceway, which is brought to you by Maconi Setup Shop, your home for iRacing setups and the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports. From legends to cup cars, they have you covered. With dirt setups available for late models, modifieds, and wing sprint cars as well. At Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories. And their newest book, How I Drive, featuring a foreword by Anthony Alfredo, is now available. Come learn from the pros how to be the best driver you can be. And visit MaconiSetupShop.com for more information. Good look at Zach Novak's machine as we'll wait and see how many more laps will run under the yellow flag. James Pike here alongside Jacob Hitz and our producer Ryan Bauer as we bring you all the action from this Rumble at Richmond Raceway presented by Maconi Setup Shop and Martin Sports. This is one of many events coming your way in the world of iRacing. We've got a special event coming your way from Hickory Motor Speedway on Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Podium Esports. Of course, Hickory due to be released tomorrow as part of the new September build for iRacing, along with a few other pieces of content. You've got the MSRA Premier Series come Richmond Raceway right here Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Podium 2. The Opmo Benefit Race, 4 hours at Watkins Glen International, also on twitch.tv/Podium 2, as well as the Podium Esports YouTube, Facebook and Twitter pages. Same for the MSRA Premier Series as well. The MPI folks in the Cinemax Cup Series powered by MPI head to Auto Club Speedway at twitch.tv/Podium Esports. The place to head for that one Sunday night, 9:15 p.m. Eastern. And then two big races next week, the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series and the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series. Both head to Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway. And the Coke Series coming your way next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 week from tonight, twitch.tv/iRacing, as well as their Facebook and YouTube pages for that one. And then we will have coverage of the Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series on both the main Podium Esports Twitch channel and Podium 2. And that broadcast will start at 9 p.m. Eastern next Thursday night. Lights off on the pace car. We'll get set to rock and roll. And of course, for more information on how to start your iRacing career, you can log on to iRacing.com. As Garrett Maines will be in control of this restart coming on lap 80 of 125. Working our way towards the final 45 laps of this Rumble at Richmond Raceway, Jacob.
Yeah, we're flying through. Like I said, 125 laps seems like a long time, but really it's not. Caution already. They couldn't even make it past turn 1. They've been crashed before the line.
Jeremy Briggs, I believe, and it looks like there were a few more involved with that. Casey Sawich also caught up in trouble. We'll take a look at the replay, see what happened.
Sawich just lost it coming off 4. They checked up in front of him a little bit. I don't know if he lifted because of it, and when he did, it just snapped. He overcorrected it into the outside wall, and then it was just on from there.
Lots of carnage in the back of this field. Could have a lot of short stints under the yellow flag to wrap this up. We're going to see lots of folks burning faster pairs. We'll probably see a little bit of attrition too, but I have this hunch, Jacob, I think from here on out, it's very quick runs. That green flag run we got right before this pair of yellows, I think that's probably the exception now and not the rule.
Cautions breed cautions. This is caution number 5. I wouldn't be surprised if we double that number by the time we see the checkered flag tonight. I know we have overtimes as well. I don't know if we'll need to use them, but we're not done wrecking. There's no way.
The question is how many, and I think more importantly, how many cars will either burn faster pairs or get wrecked without faster pairs and end up becoming casualties in this race. We've already got about, call it what, 13 cars either out of this race or already a lap down. So 29 on the lead lap as it stands. Everybody staying out and staying away from pit road. No shocker. Question is whether or not we're going to see more action quickly or if we're going to get a few green flag laps. As we remind you that tonight's broadcast is brought to you by the folks here at Podium Esports. And if you're interested in partnering with Podium, there is space available. Podium Esports has a plan for every budget and can custom tailor solutions to suit your business or brand's needs best. And for more information on the wide variety of partnership possibilities, send an email to admin@podiumesports.com. Lights still on this pace car, which means we're not going to get the restart before lap 85, but how much do you like the position you're in, Jacob Hitz, if you are Garrett Maines, and how much are you mentally beginning to prepare yourself for what could be a set of restarts, not just one?
Well, I mean, Garrett Maines has been the class of the field all night long. So I like where I'm at. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of cautions, but as long as you nail the restarts like you have all night long, you're going to be all right. If you're caught sleeping on a restart, though, then you're going to be in trouble. If I'm Briar LaPrade, if I'm Zach Novak, I just have to be within striking distance on the white flag lap to go in there. Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, bump and run, turn 3. I'll be seeing you later. It's pretty much where Garrett Maines is at. Unless he gets moved, I think he's got it locked up.
There's a lot that can happen in 40 laps, and I feel like that's all I really need to say on that one. As lights are still on the pace car, so we are still waiting for those to come off, waiting to find out when we're going to get the restart, though it looks like we've got a good chunk of the field lined up at this stage, so lights could come off this time by. And as they come across the stripe, survey says, yes, lights are off, so restart will indeed come on lap 86 of 125. 40 laps to go when they come back to the stripe, Jacob.
Yeah, 40 laps to go, and maybe 15 of these laps will be under green, if we're lucky.
Yeah, I was about to say, this could get very, very intriguing, I think. Just with the way this is going to pan out, just with the way things could get wild, as we'll wait to see whether or not it's 2 laps, it's 2 quarters, it's 20 laps. We'll find out. Pace car comes off. Green flag will come out here, mains. The control car for the restart. He'll jump off and get that gap that he loves to get. Starting from P1, LaPrade immediately drops down in front of Novak. No sooner than they cross the start-finish line, he'll try and take over second outright, go clear of Novak. And, oh, look who's together again. Jonathan Delaney and William Hale, who got together earlier in this race.
Novak tried everything he could to get underneath LaPrade. He just couldn't do it. Now LaPrade's at the racetrack. That's going to open up the door for the 90 coming off turn 4. And they're wrecking again. Turn 3, it's Sean Lester in the wall.
Lester was in the wall, and then I think back down the racetrack too, and there were a fair handful of cars that got stuck up in all this, but looks like there was a little bit of help that Lester got from somebody here. Couldn't tell if it was, it was Julian Ricci who got into Lester, sends him around, but there was another wreck a little bit just ahead of that, I think. I couldn't quite tell who it was. So we had 2 wrecks we were working with. Zach Mertes goes around again, not for the first time. Contact with Colton Zimmer, who gets into him in his blue and black Chevy Camaro. And impressive work from the field for being able to avoid Mertzes for the most part. But Andrew Player gets turned around again. And then Joey Masowicz also spun in turn 4.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the 64 was quite doing. I think he turned up the racetrack to avoid the 99. But he avoided the 99 and instead drove straight into the door of the 13 and spun them both out. So it was good. It was a good idea, but it wasn't executed very well.
Gather your breath here and see how many times you can avoid this. It's going to be a lot of madness, I think, in the back of the field. And it's also, I think, going to ramp up the pressure for the drivers up front, because I genuinely don't think you're going to get more than 2 or 3 laps, especially with the faster pairs, to make a move. The question is, how many opportunities do you get and how many restarts are we going to have? But just have to find out. Keep our eyes peeled, wait and see. We'll take a quick break and go side by side so you don't miss a moment of the action under the yellow flag. You're watching coverage of the Rumble at Richmond Raceway, presented by Maconi Setup Shop and Martin Sports, here from the virtual Richmond Raceway on Podium Esports.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Maconi Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Maconi Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Maconi Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MaconiSetupShop.com and learn why Maconi Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars, and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone, and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community.
Back to green flag racing in the Rumble at Richmond Raceway. Garrett Maines with a good jump, clear of Brian LaPrade. William Hale third, Zach Novak fourth. And look at Presley Sora going to the inside of Jonathan Delaney as they're going to be 3 wide out of turn 2.
I can't imagine that's going to last well or long. But tell you what, Presley Sora, he got shot out of a cannon. He's still going to stay down there underneath the 9. Still 3 wide off of 4.
Maines clear, LaPrade clear, Hale clear. 1 car down to the inside. And Leclerc, who's stuck down on the bottom, but in the grass, so no yellow flag. And we are left with a side-by-side battle for P3 between William Hale and Zach Novak.
Man, and right behind them, you got Mills and Delaney side by side too. These guys are all over each other. They're not giving an inch at this point. We're closing in on 25, 30 laps to go. The arms are up on the wheel now. It's go or go home time.
Elbows could definitely do some damage here if you're a little bit too close, because they're going to be all flung out, all up on these wheels as these drivers try and fight and claw for every single inch of track they can. Garrett Maines clear Brian LaPrade by maybe 5 or 6 car lengths, make it 7 or 8 car lengths from LaPrade back to Hale, as Zach Novak now goes to the high line to try and find some speed, and Jonathan Delaney will take the spot he leaves on the bottom, and then they'll file right back in line on the backstretch and spread out in the corners and probably come back in line on the front stretch once again.
Yeah, it's kind of how they work it. But Novak crossover here on William Hale, going to the inside. Novak a little too far back. Can't quite get there off 2. Let's see if he can get the momentum down the back straightaway, put something together here in 3. And it doesn't look like it. Hale takes the defensive line.
Yep, Novak there just trying to get the run on Hale and trying to set it up. So I think his best shot is to be close enough to Hale to where he can cross him over on corner entry after running high on corner exit in prior setup. As we see Jeff Maconi's on board, you get a good look at how he's doing in his VR setup, and he's found his way up to the top 10 after starting 17th. Nice run for Jeff Maconi.
Now, he's kind of snuck up on there on us a couple times. He's been towards the 15th, 20th for most of the day, and when you talked about him earlier, back on 11, I was like, holy cow, where the heck did he come from? Well, he's doing the same thing right now, inside the top 10.
Garrett Maines still in control of this. Brian LaPrade still fighting. William Hale still in 3rd. How about a little bit further back, though? They were 3 for a second, and it's Jeff Maconi looking to the inside of Derek Fulton. That would be for 7th if he can make the pass.
Yeah, Fulton pushed Landon Mills wide there in 3 and 4. That allowed Maconi just to open the door wide open for him. So he takes 1 spot away, and now he's going to try and get that 34 of Fulton here as well.
Maconi clear of Landon Mills. Fulton next on the list, and everybody pretty well spread out amongst the top 5, top 6. No side-by-side battles amongst the leaders, so we'll keep our eyes right here on Fulton and company. And maybe a little bit further back, too, I saw 1 car slide wide. I think it was Braxton DeWeese who got some contact, I believe, from Andrew Rucker, who now holds 10th.
Delaney still trying to get by Novak. This is the battle for 4th place. Delaney on that bottom, a little loose off the corner. Can't do it. Novak keeps power down, so Delaney just has to get in line.
Nothing going between these drivers yet. Good stuff. Starts around P10. Here's Derek Fulton. You see what kind of view he's got, how much ground he has to make up just to get to Sora, to Delaney, to Novak, to that trio battling for the 4th spot, who all the while are losing time to William Hale, who's been quicker by about a 10th, maybe the last 2-3 laps or so. It looks like Novak's car is fading just a little bit, and he's backing up into the clutches of Delaney and Sora and Fulton company as Hale is able to get away.
And now here comes Sora right to the corner panel of Delaney. Gonna try and do everything he can here to get P5 away from him. Way deep into 3. Almost contact. It's gonna be close here to 1.
Oh, that was a big move from Presley Sora, but he didn't quite have the run off the corner. He needed to maintain that track position alongside Delaney, so he'll give up the spot. Delaney back to 5th, Sora back to 6th. Derek Fulton working for an opportunity to maybe get alongside Sora and take away 7th.
Yeah. Nice little 3-car battle. Fulton, Sora, Delaney. Of course, they're all single file now, not side by side. But Garrett Maines, he's got the rocket boosters back on that thing. He's gone. He's pulling away from Brian LaPrade. He's just hoping that we stay green the rest of the way. I know I just Pasoko'd the race, but still, he's hoping that it stays green until he sees the white flag.
That's not a Pasoko. That's just a general commentator's curse. We had that happen in the Retro 500 last night. We talked about it, and then no sooner did I get the chance to open my mouth than I think it was Sammy Yaya who went around. So it happens to everyone everywhere. No one is safe. Just go ahead and accept that now, Jacob. You'll be better off going forward as we get a good shot of Jeff Maconi's 0-3 machine, which now rides in the 8th position, trying to find his way around Landon Mills. There's also the lap traffic of Julian Ricci up there that's helping to break up the battles amongst the back half of the top 10.
Yeah, lap traffic going to play a factor the longer we stay green, because there are some race cars out there that are absolutely destroyed. Novak rolling the outside line here, trying to hang on for 4th with Delaney. Look at this. It's like he's at Darlington.
We saw him trying to pull this off earlier and try and use the very outside of the racetrack as a different line, and he used it just enough to get the momentum to clear Delaney and then get right back in front of him. So I almost think he wants to try and park it in front of Delaney. But there's one thing that I think is pretty conclusive that we can take from this 90 car over the course of the past 5 laps or so, and that it is that he just doesn't have the pace that Hale or LaPrade or Maines do, or maybe even Delaney, who's gotten to the inside of Zach Novak once again in 3 and 4.
Yeah, Novak definitely didn't get a good run through 1 and 2 that last time. Got a better run here off 3 and 4. He's at least clear for a moment, but now he comes down to the bottom of the racetrack. But Novak, that thing's just gotten worse and worse and worse on him as time goes on. It was good in the daylight, but now that the lights are out, different story for the driver of the 90.
Everybody all clear up front. No battles amongst the top 3 drivers. It's all about this battle for 4th at the moment. It's the highest battle in the running order on the racetrack, as Delaney again to the inside, Novak again running the high line, and I'm a little surprised that Sora or Fulton haven't managed to start putting their names into this hat and try and fight for position. And oh, by the way, in addition to those two, guess who's climbing into this battle? Just at the very back of your screen, you'll see Jeff Maconi in his black machine. That Chevrolet Camaro starting to work his way up towards this fight, approaching 10 laps.
Caution!
Stony
Backstretch.
Benfield, I believe, yes. Stony Benfield, the one who goes around in 3 and 4. And Gary Sexton with a little bit of contact there, too. Couldn't tell if Sexton got help, got loose, got maybe into Cameron Perez, actually. Yeah, big contact there. So, well, Gary said he was saving his fast repair, so here's the opportunity to use it. He'll need it after that shot.
Yeah, he ping-ponged there off the car to his outside, and then that 75. And, I mean, they just keep piling on in. And when you wreck here and you're parked in the middle of a racetrack, it's tough just because you don't know where the car is going to stop. So you kind of just have to pick a lane and hope it works. That's why we see a lot of big wrecks at this racetrack, just because somebody wrecks on the back straightaway and it's a track blocker. But, you know, these things happen.
Oh, pit strategy now. Okay. We're finally starting to see some big-time calls. Zach Novak is the first car that comes in. The top 4 stay out. Everybody else comes in for service, and we know that's going to include Gary Sexton as well, who now joins us in the booth. Gary, can you take us through what happened that time around?
It's just a bloodbath back here. I still haven't used my fast repair. I probably should have that last run, or else I wouldn't even been in the middle of that mess. But I don't know. That guy was beating my back of my bumper for a while there. He was a lap down, and so I just didn't give him any room off of 2, and I think he might have hit the wall, or we just kind of came together. But it's part of it.
Any particular game plan here for the final 10 laps besides just try and go for broke?
No, you know, I'm not really in a position to do anything. Had I taken my fast repair that last caution, I probably could be in the top 10 right now and would have been able to do something. But I was down 100 RPMs for most of the race, so it was real hard to make any headway. So yeah, the game plan now, I just took 2 tires to get some rotation in the car, and we're gonna work the high line and try to pass as many as we can.
Looks like you're going to be restarting somewhere in the ballpark of 26. Thanks for the time, Gary, and best of luck on this last set of restarts, perhaps.
Yep, I appreciate it.
So, it's your top 6 that stay out, and the first driver on fresh tires is the driver we're going to speak with now. So, Jeff Maconi, what's your thought with this pit strategy?
Car's tight. I got to do something. Car's just so tight. We heat cycled the tires 2, 3, 4 times there. I'm really fast on the long run, but I needed something on the short run. I figured some guys would stay out. I didn't think it'd be 6. We'll see what happens. You know, I got 10 laps here, 9 laps once we take the green. I know I'm faster than the 102, the 34, the 73. I was running right on Derek's back bumper. I might be able to make something happen, but we'll have to see how it all pans out. 2 tires was the only thing I could justify to try and get something with this car.
So should we be placing our bets on whether or not it's a Maconi victory or a bowl of macaroni at the end of this?
Oh man, I wish I could tell you how to gamble, but it's gonna be something. I needed something with this car, so we'll see.
You got something you got to restart to get yourself ready for, so best of luck to you, Jeffrey. We'll see how it all plays out.
Thank you much. Talk to you guys later.
This could get wild. Lap 118 gonna go up on the board. We'll be in the restart. 8 laps to go. Jacob Hitz, you ready?
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work for Maconi. I don't think it will very well, but you never know if crazier things have happened. This restart inside 10 to go is going to be the nightmare for some of these guys. I think anybody 4th on back, to be completely honest with you, maybe 5th on back. These guys on the old tires, they're going to be running for their lives here.
Garrett Baines with a good restart. Everybody else trying to shuffle around. What do the fresh tires do just a little bit further back? There goes Novak to the inside of Maconi. A little bit further back in this field. They are 3 wide. And there's trouble from Maconi. There goes Landon Mills hard into the fence in the outside wall. He goes sideways. More cars caught up in the back. I think we see the 99 machine as well of Jordan Coots, who had a good run earlier, in trouble. But big moves there from Zach Novak in particular. If there's one driver that took advantage of the restart and just went, how about the man in the Maconi setup shop Toyota Camry from Richmond Raceway Esports?
Yeah, those 2 tires worked well, huh? I mean, they were 4 wide. He didn't really have anywhere to go. He had a little room down underneath him, but it's 8 to go. You know, you're pushing everything you got. You're trying to stay off of people, but there's only so much you can do, especially when you're on cold tires.
Yeah, green-white checkers also available. Remember, we've got 3 of them if we need, so we may see some action on that front too. But I think, especially if you're any of these drivers in the front 6, you've made your bed, and the worst problem that you have to worry about now is Zach Novak with a clean car and fresh tires right behind you. I don't know if Novak's had the pace outright to go toe-to-toe with the leaders, but with 40-lap fresher tires, if we actually get a few, the 90's in really good shape. The question now is going to be whether or not he's going to have enough time, because we're going to be very close to a natural green-white checker when we go back racing just off of this yellow. And if we get more, then we're into proper green-white checker territory.
Right. So, I mean, they could just go off into turn 1 and wreck every time we get to turn 1. It's possible. Not saying it should happen or it will happen, but, I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised, honestly.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What can we expect here as you get a good look here at some of the shots, a few more shots of this incident and what it looks like here from Jeremy Briggs with a big move. Not quite a perfect parting on the seas there, but definitely a little bit of Red Sea action there for Briggs, who just had the hole open up for him perfectly in the middle of that.
Well, and he can roll with that damage just on the right side of the race car. I mean, that doesn't matter too much here, especially with the amount of laps we have left. And just keep your foot on it.
Could be a little bit nuts. Do we get lights off the pace car this time by? Answer to that question is no. So another lap under yellow, which will bring us to 124. So this should, I think, be as our good friend David Schildhouse says, a natural, hormone-free, chemical-free, responsibly raised, grass-fed, certified USDA organic green, white checker. Check them.
Free range and everything. You love to see it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally free range. Whole Foods would be proud of the green, white checker that we're about to have. Maybe not necessarily if we get another yellow flag, that it might drop off on the checklist of quality standards. But at least this first one maybe.
This one puts the green and green, white checker. The rest, good luck. You get what's left.
So let's see. Are our suspicions correct? Lights are off on the pace car, so yes, it will be 2 laps to go when we get the green flag. Remember, in any case, now from here on out, if we get the white before we get the yellow, the race is official. If we get the yellow before we get the white, we will line everybody up and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. We have 3 green, white checkers available to us just in case. Whether or not we use all 3, we're about to find out. As Garrett Reams will be the control car for what could be this final restart, then LaPran, then Hale, then Fulton, then Mertzes. Remember, everybody in the top 6 on old tires. It's Maconi and Novak that are on the fresh rubber. Do they have enough time? Do they have enough space?
Well, at least the leaders made it to start-finish. They are fanning out all over the place. You got the 9 slinging it around the outside, trying to get by Zach Novak. Top 3, well, they're wrecking. They're wrecking. Turn 1. It's huge.
Couldn't even get your breath caught there before they actually did go sideways, and I couldn't tell where exactly that started or who exactly that started with. I saw general smoke, and I think the answer here might
Curtis Kelly.
Yes, Curtis Kelly. That's exactly who I was about to go to. His red, black, white, blue. Well, brew. He's got coffee in his car, so I guess we can count brew and blue. We'll take that ad lib as it comes. But in either case, he goes around, got some help, I think, from Andrew Player, who has been center of the storm all night. Seems like Player's been near a lot of the yellow flags and either been innocent bystander or part of them in some way, shape, or form. But as it stands, the contact with Curtis Kelly means that we now go to green, white checker overtime procedures.
Yeah. You hate to see it. You know, that just everybody in the back of the field just wrecking, trying to avoid it. There's only so much you can do, but well, that organic green white checker is thrown in the dumpster. What's next?
What's next officially will be 3 more green-white checker finishes. But before we get to the green-white checkers, let's remind you of some of the events coming up in the world of Podium Esports over the course of the next week. Action continues on Friday night. Was a special event from what will be the then newly released Hickory Motor Speedway. You'll see it tomorrow on the iRacing store when the build comes up. We'll have our broadcast at 9 p.m. on twitch.tv/Podium Esports. And then 2 races this weekend on the Podium 2 Twitch channel, as well as the Podium Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter pages. We'll start on Saturday night with the MSRA Premier Series from right here at Richmond Raceway, and then the benefit race for Operation Motorsport, 4 hours for the virtual Watkins Glen International MSRA Saturday night at 8, Opmo Sunday afternoon at 2. Then we're back to the regular Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Podium Esports for the SimMax Cup Series powered by MPI from Auto Club Speedway, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time this Sunday. And then 2 races for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series, both from Bristol. The Coke Series playoffs continue next Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on iRacing's Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook channels. And then we will have coverage of the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series on both the main Twitch channel and twitch.tv/Podium 2 next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Cars are lined up, lights are still on. Jane Spike, Jacob Hitz, and Ryan Bauer here to bring you all of the action for what could be the final restart, but do not bank on anything.
The key word is could. We said that about the last one too, and that lasted the whole 10 seconds.
Right. Could be wild. Probably will be wild. But then again, this is Richmond Raceway. You've seen a lot of really good finishes throughout the years. You saw a pretty good one even in April. Jacob Hitz, and I have a hunch this one might stack up there with them because close as everybody is, short as amount of time we're going to have in the rest of this race as lights go out the pace car once again, I expect nothing less than full-on door-banging, sheet metal twisting contact.
Yeah, I don't know if Breyer is going to have the best shot to win this race just because he's starting on the outside line. I think it's going to come down to William Hale. If he can get a good enough restart where he can get underneath mains getting into turn one, or at least stay close enough, we're good. He can just drive in, give him a tap, move him up the hill, and keep on going. Otherwise, yeah, forget it.
And you know he will as the pace car comes off. Garrett Maines will have the opportunity to go. Hale tries to stick with him and got a decent restart. He timed it well, but he spun the tires, so the Prad will be able to go to second. Hale to third. Here comes Jonathan Delaney to the inside, trying to get underneath Novak as they move Derek Fulton up the hill.
3 wide, Novak stuck in the middle. He gets clear of Fulton. They fan out down the back straightaway throughout the back of the field. Here they come through turn 3. Yeah, looks like they might make it. Yes, white flag.
Waiting. Yes, white flag. All right, so we are racing back to the finish. Garrett Maines has 2 more corners to hold on as William Hale tries to fight off Zach Novak down on the bottom, and Brian LaPrade will have 1 opportunity in turns 3 and 4 to try and make this happen. He's going to send the bumper, and he almost got to the rear bumper of Garrett Maines, but couldn't quite get there. And for the second night in a row, Garrett Maines is
Big
victorious on a Podium Esports broadcast as they just burned it down in the back. But Garrett Maines wins the Rumble at Richmond Raceway, presented by Maconi Setup Shop and Morton Sports. A big win for the second night in a row for Garrett Maines, who is untouchable at this point and gets to bring it down the front straightaway, burn down the tires, and start the celebration. And as he starts the celebration, we remind you that tonight's winning moment is brought to you by Morton Sports, founded by Scott Morton nearly 10 years ago in the frozen region of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, the UP. Morton Sports Giants, the best custom apparel for your needs. Whether you need shirts for your office, jerseys for a local sports team, or specifically designed apparel for your sim racing group, Morton Sports has you covered. Along with shirts and other team wear, they also offer gloves specifically crafted for sim racing that are lightweight, breathable, and complete with padded leather palms. If you want to learn more about them, find them at mortonsports906.com or visit their Facebook page at facebook.com/Morton Sports. We'll take a quick commercial break and then be back with the post-race show for the Richmond Raceway Rumble, presented by Maconi Setup Shop and Morton Sports. You're watching coverage from iRacing's virtual Richmond Raceway here on Podium Esports. We'll be back just after this.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Maconi Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Maconi Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Maconi Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MaconiSetupShop.com and learn why Maconi Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hickory on a beautiful 80-degree Easter Saturday.
Welcome back to Podium Esports coverage of the Rumble at Richmond Raceway, presented by Maconi Setup Shop and Martin Sports. Let's take a look at the final lap and see what happened not only between Briar LaPrade and Garrett Maines, but towards the middle of the pack where everybody went everywhere. And I think we had a few new candidates who tried to join the Podium Esports Space Administration. Jacob?
Yeah, it turned into a Daytona-style finish relatively quickly. Just everybody from about 6th, 7th on back just started running into each other, and by then they knew they weren't going to win, so might as well just wad them up. But here you'll see, Briar LaPrade was so close in 3 and 4. He sends it in, just needed maybe a little bit more throttle. He did everything but hit the back of the 2, and it looks like Maconi's the one that kicks this thing off. And it's the 102 that gets sent to the moon, hit again on its roof. Oh, my goodness.
Everybody went everywhere at the end of that. And poor Zach Mertes, who was sort of middle of the storm the same way Andrew Player was. It was Player and Mertes involved in a lot of these. But yeah, Maconi gets in Mertes, and then everybody goes everywhere. And I think that's a little bit less space administration and a little bit more just spinning top. But either way, not a fun way for Mertes to end this race. But a fun way for Garrett Maines to end this race. Victor for the second night in a row, this time over Briar LaPrade. Zach Novak finishes 3rd. We'll have all 3 of those for post-race interviews in a few moments. William Hale finished in the 4th spot, and 5th went to Derek Fulton. Jonathan Delaney finished in the 6th position. 7th went to Presley Sora. AJ Green was 8th. Jeff Maconi comes home 9th, and completing the top 10 was Justin Malarkey.
Chad Thornquist finished in the 11th spot with Thomas Lloyd in 12th. Colton Zimmer finished in 13th. Andrew Player brings it home in 14th. Travis Grameda finishes in 15th. Jordan Kuntz, he started out well, started P8. He finished 17th. Landon Mills, he started 6th. He finishes back in the 18th spot. Then Joey Mazowitz finishes 19th, and Andrew Luntz Jr. rounds out the top 20.
21st was Zach Mertes. After all the madness on the last lap, a lot of these cars were involved in that incident. Andrew Rucker finishes 22nd. 23rd went to Gary Sexton, and Andrew Cody finishes 24th. 25th went to Curtis Carey. Eric Thomas finished the race in 26th. Cameron Perez brought it home 27th, and Brian Dixon completed tonight's proceedings in 28th. 29th was Brandon Paunetto, and finishing in 30th was Hayes Booth.
31st was Jeremy Briggs, 1 lap down. Anybody from Booth on back did not finish on the lead lap. So Briggs 31st. 32nd, Stoney Benfield. 33rd, Michael Eckhart. 34th, Julian Rickey. 35th, Casey Sawich. 36th, Braxton DeWeese. 37th, Tyler Clerk. 38th, Sean Thomas Lester, I can read. 39th, Manuel Valdez. 40th, Gavin Newton, and Colin Forrester. Robert Charette and Josh Stoltz round out our field of 43.
As we now are joined by our winner this evening out of nearby Powhatan, Virginia, Garrett Maines. And Garrett, does this get old after a while? Are you tired of this at this point?
Nah, I heard this was broadcasted by Podium. I thought I'd have to hop in tonight.
So you're not tired of this, but I almost think this race, it's maybe not total vindication for the Coke Series race where you and Chente were so good here in April, but you do get a win in a Cup car at Richmond in iRacing in 2021, and especially it being your home track, I know you're not going to be sad about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely cool to be able to win here tonight, especially with Zach and Briar. They were really strong all night. But yeah, in the Coke Series race, I learned a lot right after that race that I wish I had known kind of 24 hours prior. So definitely, something cool to take away and be able to, put together for tonight. Hopefully, I'll be able to translate that into some other races later this season, maybe next year, we'll see. But definitely cool at Richmond. Ray Smith actually mentioned this race to me because I was at Richmond Raceway today, and I was like, I wonder what time that is, and I asked about it when I got home, so here we are.
Hop in, drop in, win the race, and this time to go with the $500 you won last night for winning the Retro 500. Now you got a $500 value prize package from Martin Sports to go with it. So all told, you're coming back with 4 figures out of this week. So how excited are you to get the gear, too? Because I know you've got a good relationship with Scott Martin and the folks at Martin Sports already.
Yeah, no problem. And yeah, Scott's a cool guy. He already sent me some of the gloves that they were demoing before to get some feedback, and they were really solid, and I think they made some really cool improvements since then. So I'm really hyped to get some custom apparel. I think that was part of the deal. That'll be really neat. We were actually talking about that, ironically enough, probably about a month ago, and I've just been running around with the eNASCAR stuff and going to the racetracks. Haven't had a chance to like follow up on it, but I guess now I got the ticket for it.
And speaking of racetracks and places that you know well, and you sort of hinted at it a little bit since you were there today, I imagine you've got a pretty busy schedule this weekend. So if fans are interested, if they're going to be at the racetrack and they want to get involved and see you and meet you while you're out and about on the complex at Richmond this weekend, where are they going to be able to find you, and where should folks pay attention?
It's funny you ask, because this is the first weekend all year that I am not working the event. Purely because I have a birthday party that I'm going to for a friend I haven't talked to in probably 2 years. So I'm going to hang out with him in the afternoon, and then I'm coming to the racetrack eventually. I'll know the answer to that question when I read my email, because I saw it earlier today. It just didn't concern me. But I will be at the track at some point that day. So wherever Sim Seats is where I will be when I get there for sure.
So follow Garrett on Twitter. Thanks for the raid, by the way. I do appreciate that. But keep an eye on Garrett's social media to find the winningest driver in the history of Podium Esports at some point this weekend at his home track. But for now, winner of the virtual Richmond Raceway Rumble at the virtual Richmond Raceway. Congratulations, Garrett. Thanks as always for the time, and enjoy this week. You've had a good one.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I got to give a shout out to OfferPad, Smithfield, Lennox, Nutrien Ag Solutions, everybody at Elliott Sadler Esports, getting ready to put that Bristol car together. Hopefully we can have another good short track showing. We'll see. That one's a tough one, but looking forward to it. And, it's cool. I mean, to get to 2 back-to-back wins for OfferPad, it seems like a good week for him so far.
They have indeed had a very good week. There's Garrett Maines, your winner of the 2021 Richmond Raceway Rumble, presented by Maconi Setup Shop and Martin Sports. We turn our attention from Maines to our runner-up, who almost had it and just about backed up his victory in the Fast Fridays Next Gen race here at Richmond. Briar LaPrade is with Jacob Hitz.
Briar, so close. Had a really strong car tonight. You were pretty much lurking in that second spot all night long. Just could never catch the 2. 3 and 4 last lap. Could you have done anything different to get the win?
Like Pike said, the Next Gen Fast Friday thing, I pretty much sent it in on the apron and turned Zach for it. It's probably about the only other thing I could have done, really. Dirty Air was a pain tonight, honestly. Just couldn't really do much after so many laps. And once we got those 5-10 laps in, you were just stuck with whatever you could work with and where you were on track. But other than that, I had a really fun time out there tonight.
Well, certainly it seemed like you had a lot of fun out there on the racetrack. I think that's really all I have. I'm blanking on anything else coming to me, but we could talk about Road to Pro, of course, eNASCAR Pro qualifying iRacing series. We've got Bristol coming up a week from Thursday. Excited, nervous. You've done really well to start out the season. Things are looking good for you points-wise. Is Bristol going to be kind of an easy week, or are you going in just trying to win it?
Yeah, definitely just trying to go in and win it. I got a title to win. At this point, I'm pretty sure we're just locked into pro for the winter time. And yeah, it's gonna be different because Bristol does get updated tomorrow in the build, I believe. Not sure what they're gonna do to the track. The properties are gonna be updated, as they say in the patch notes. So just gotta spend some time on that and figure out what we got to do with our truck and see if we can go win it, because we got a title to win and keep momentum our way. We haven't finished worse than 5th, which is crazy to me, honestly. So if we can keep that up going through pro, and that'd be really nice. Try and make it into the Coke Series.
Well, congratulations on the second place finish here tonight. We'll see you in Road to Pro in just under 2 weeks, and best of luck to you moving forward.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Briar LaPrade, second place finisher here tonight from Richmond Raceway. Bye.
LeBron comes home P2, and P3 is Richmond Raceway Esports own Zach Novak, who was up in the top 5 all night. And Zach just, it felt like just a hair off on speed compared to the race leaders, but still another really solid performance at your team's home track. Just take us through your night and how it went from behind the wheel of your Toyota Camry.
Yeah, I mean, was a fun race. Really happy to just participate and put on a good show. Big thanks to Jeff and Scott for putting this on, and you guys for broadcasting it. To say the least, it was pretty frustrating. Just a lot of dirty air, man. It just was really, really hard to make anything happen. And anytime obviously I wasn't behind Garrett for very, very long. I kind of got trapped, in third or behind for a majority of the race. But the times where I was behind Garrett, especially earlier in the race, I had that tire advantage. I found something in the middle, and that was really the only way I could make any time, just because, like I said, the dirty air was making me struggle a lot. But I started to make some good time up there, and then the caution came out, and just seemed like I kept catching cautions at horrible points all night. So it is what it is. It's racing. You can't win them all. So a little bit frustrated, but like I said, just happy to participate and happy that this event was put on.
Do you think any of these issues with dirty air, with grip, does it change with the next gen car coming here next year? You've driven both. Do you see much of a difference with the way you approach Richmond between the two cars, or is it just chronic issues that are more short track racing issues than anything else?
No, I think it's just the air model that they have in the game, and it's not necessarily that it's bad or anything of that sort. That's not what I'm trying to get at. It's just they struggle with the same stuff in real life. It's just part of racing, and as frustrating as it is, it's just something you got to deal with. So it's something that I'm sure iRacing is going to keep working on to tweak and make it as perfect as possible. But it's not bad by any means. It's just frustrating to deal with sometimes.
Good finish here. Can you carry this sort of momentum into Bristol next week and hopefully get a good finish in the Coke Series?
I hope so, man. Definitely been my best track of the past 2 years or 2 seasons. Even with a terrible 2020, I still ran well there. So really looking forward to that race. Trying to, avenge our 2019 defeat. So hopefully we can do that. So far through testing, car feels really good. So hopefully the update tomorrow doesn't mess with it too much, and we can pick up right where we left off and have a shot to win that next week.
We'll be watching. We'll see whether or not you can jump up to the top step and claim victory in 2021. But for now, Zach, thanks as always for the time. Congratulations on your podium finish here tonight, and best of luck going into Bristol next week.
Thank you. I just want to again shout out everyone that put this on, and Jeff for coming on board with me this year for the Coke Series, and really, really appreciative of him. So it's only my duty to do events like this that he's putting on and help promote it a little bit more. So appreciate everyone that put this on. Appreciate you guys for broadcasting. Was a fun race.
That is 2019 NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion Zach Novak, who finishes in third. One more person to talk to. How about the man behind the event himself? And maybe he's back on planet Earth now that he's done with the VR portion of his night. But let's bring in Jeff Maconi one more time, and he'll chat with Jacob Hitz.
The mass murderer himself there on that last lap, Jeff Maconi. Certainly a good night for you nonetheless. Finish inside the top 10. You outside the top 10 throughout the early portions of the race, but you were able to claw your way forward as the night went on.
Yeah, I was very lucky that we had those long runs there towards the end. Right in the middle and then towards the end we had those long runs. That helped a ton. That car was just, I was able to save tires so well. I was running times even with the leaders. At the end, I was in 25th, and I drove up to 10th and was going to pass for like 9, 8, 7, all that. Yeah, last few laps, there was, I think on the first, no, that caused the first green-white checkered. No, yeah, that caused the first green-white checkered. Novak looked low, and I thought he was going to bluff, and so I was going low, and then he didn't bluff and went in there, and I had to give him room, and I went up, and I caught, I think it was the 20. I apologized right away, but just a racing deal there. I didn't think Novak was going to be there, and he was. He didn't do anything wrong, I had a 50-50 shot on it, and I guessed wrong. And then the last lap there, I think it was the 102, came up in front of me. He got bumped on the bottom and came up in front of me. I gave him a shot in the back end, and then someone spun ahead. I think the 48 or something, like, lost it off before because he was legging it, and then yeah, I didn't beat him to the line. I finished 9th, but oh my, you can tell I'm sweating. It was an exhausting race, but I don't know how I managed to pass like 15, 16 cars in the middle there, and then I think that 2-tire call was the only one I could have made. Either way, I would have restarted 7th if I had stayed out or pitted. So might as well get 2 tires, and the car felt great. The car felt amazing.
We certainly put on a heck of a show for us, and not only you on the racetrack, but you setting this whole thing out for us. We certainly appreciate it, and of course, we'll see you along the way. We'll see you in the booth for Road to Pro, and I'm sure there's another Maconi Setup Shop event coming up sooner or later that we'll be covering. So,
yeah, lots of cool things coming, and it's all thanks to the amazing partners, the whole team at Maconi Setup Shop. I can't thank them enough. All the work that they put in to help make these events possible, build the setups, run races, all the sponsored drivers that are out there turning laps and making sure the name stays good and not being idiots out there. I'm real thankful for all of them. A lot of them were here tonight, and that was a lot of fun. Martin Sports obviously gets a huge thank you for everything they do with our merchandise, all the stuff they do behind the scenes, making these gloves, and all the ones that are coming soon. I'm very excited for those. Helping make this event possible tonight. They donated over $500 worth of merchandise and stuff for the winner. Absolutely insane of them to do, and I'm beyond thankful for them and all the things they do. Podium for being on the car. UNOH was on the car. Thank you to them. Just everyone that makes it possible. I could not possibly do it without them, and so that's who I'm most grateful for. And you guys as well for bringing all these crazy ideas that I have to life. The whole team over at Richmond Raceway Esports for helping make this happen and planning it tonight. Kai, the social media guy, intern over there with Richmond Raceway Esports, is phenomenal. I love the work that he does. Ray Smith with eNASCAR does a ton of work with us and helps us a ton. Cannot thank him and his team enough. So I'm glad I get to be the face of this and, the in-race reporter and put on the camera and be in front of it, but it wouldn't be possible without all those people behind the scenes. I'm just the lucky guy that gets to drive pretend race cars.
Jeff Maconi, professional fake race car driver, 9th place finisher here tonight at Richmond. Let's wrap things up here, Pike.
Yeah, classic Richmond racing, I think, at the end of this. That's what I come back to. Lots of drivers trying to figure out the right line and corners. Lots of drivers trying to figure out where the best place is to go. Lots of drivers trying to survive. Lots of drivers going wild at the end. But this is Podium Esports. Can we be shocked when we see Garrett Maines take another checkered flag? And we promise we did not juice or rig or do anything to this. But again, I think it hasn't quite come through in the Coke Series this year, but there is a reason why Garrett is in the Coke Series. And that is because there is plenty of talent behind the wheel. I don't know if the results have shown it in the Coke Series this year, but you bring him outside of the Coke Series into events like this, where you use the Cup car with the same package on a track like this, and you understand why he was such an attractive driver for Elliott Sadler Esports to go pick up.
Right, and I mean, you talked about just how dominant he's been over the last week. Bringing in the energy with that paint scheme. Denny Hamlin just won in that paint scheme on Sunday night. Of course, Garrett won last night. Comes back, wins again tonight. He's just been really, really impressive out on the racetrack, and I'm sure he's hoping that this continues and this momentum keeps going and going and going as we move through the rest of the Coke Series season. Just have to wait and see, but he's got to be pretty much on the top of his game right now, and anybody that's racing with him should be nervous.
I have a feeling he's probably wishing that the Bristol race was this Thursday and not next Thursday, because he's got a ton of momentum. $500 from the Retro 500, $500 value worth of prizes from Martin Sports tonight. So, yeah, good week for Garrett Maines, and we'll see whether or not he can keep it rolling next week. And speaking of next week, and I suppose the end of this week, plenty of events coming in the world of Podium Esports throughout the next, call it maybe 7-8 days here. Friday night, special event. More info to come, so keep your eyes peeled on the Podium Esports social media channels. But we're going to Hickory Motor Speedway for the very first time on Podium Esports, and it's going to be very, very special for us to bring you that event 9 p.m. Friday night on the main Podium Esports Twitch channel from the all-new Hickory Motor Speedway, coming your way as part of the build that will release tomorrow on iRacing proper. So be ready to set that up. Then you've got the Opmo Benefit Race, 4 hours at the virtual Watkins Glen International, along with the MSRA Premier Series round of 16, race number 2 from Richmond Raceway on Sunday and Saturday, respectively. MSRA coming your way Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Podium 2 Twitch channel, as well as the Podium Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter pages. Same for the Opmo Benefit, but that'll be Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Then Sunday at 9:15 p.m. Eastern, it's the SimMax Cup Series powered by MPI from Auto Club Raceway on the main Podium Esports Twitch channel. And then Tuesday night, the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series playoffs continue from Thunder Valley. Bristol Motor Speedway will be the place. Free race will start at 8:30 on iRacing's Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube channels. And then Thursday night, it's the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series. 2 races left to go in the season. We'll be live from Bristol Motor Speedway, both on the main Twitch channel and Podium 2. We'll have all the action coming your way 9 p.m. next Thursday night. And plenty of people to thank for this event. 3 parties in particular we need to start with. First, Jeff Maconi and the folks at Maconi Setup Shop for the registration and all the work that they've done with this. Scott Morton and his team at Morton Sports for helping provide the prizes to the teams. And of course, Ray Smith and everybody at Richmond Raceway and Richmond Raceway Esports doing such a great job promoting iRacing through events like these. And the Richmond Raceway Esports team in the Coke Series, Zach Novak was here tonight representing and put down a good finish for them. None of this happens without the trio of partners that you see on your screen that made this Rumble at Richmond Raceway possible. And then there are folks that we need to thank at our team as well. Francisco Scaramuza, Gary Sexton, and John Theodore at Podium Esports. For tonight's camera builder, Dougie Beard, our producer this evening, Ryan Bauer, and my partner in the booth, Jacob Hitz, I am James Pike, the voice of Podium Esports. Thank you so much for watching our coverage of the 2021 Rumble from Richmond Raceway. We will see you on Friday night for the very first time for the virtual Hickory Motor Speedway for more short track action.